Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about the navigation system, navbar in Bootstrap, and how to add little effects, add buttons, add search bar, and effects, and all that stuff. So, as you can see, this is my header in almost every video, and I have the jumbotron, and inside that goes the hello world in the container. So, as you can see, this is the jumbotron, and I want my header above the jumbotron. So, I'm going to add the navbar before the jumbotron. I'm gonna create a div with a class of navbar, navbar default, and inside this I'm gonna create a container, and all of my navbar content goes inside the container. So inside this I'm gonna create a div with a class of navbar header. Navbar header basically consists of icons or the text, the main logo of your website. So it will consist of that. And if I save this and preview in browser, as you can see, this is our navbar, and whatever we put inside this comes inside this container. So now inside this, I'm gonna add an anchor tag with a reference of nothing, and I'm gonna add a class of navbar brand, and I'm gonna name it wired wiki, let's say. Close this. As you can see, this is our brand logo, and now I'm gonna add a button that will have a responsive pattern inside this the navbar. So before this link, I'm gonna add a button with a type button and have a class of navbar toggle. It's a special class. Data toggle will be collapse, and then at last we have a data target. I'm gonna give it an ID of let's say example. So inside this button I'm gonna add a span class icon bar, and close the span tag, copy this 3 times, let's say, save this, preview in the browser. And as you can see, it's not actually visible, but if I collapse this, as you can see, there's the button right there. And if I go to the desktop version, it goes, and when it comes to the tablet or the iPhone version, it comes back. So that's the effect. And you can also, increase this icon bar. Let's say 2 more. Save this, preview in the browser. If I do this now, these are 5 times. So I'm gonna remove these. So now for the content of this navbar, I'm gonna add another div after this div with a class of collapse navbar collapse, and I'm gonna give it an ID, and I'm gonna give it a same ID right here. This is the ID that we use, example, and I'm gonna put right here. And inside this I can put anything. It can be links, it can be buttons, it can be forms, it can be anything. So it can be lists. I'm gonna first put an unordered list with a UL, and with a class of navbar nav, and inside that I'm gonna create a lists, let's say with a button anchor tag with a reference of nothing, and name it link. Close the anchor tag, copy this, and let's say this is link 2 and link 1. Save this, preview in the browser. As you can see, we have our link 1 and link 2. We can also add an active class to one of the links. For example, this is the second one, and I'm going to make it active with a class of active. Save this. As you can see, this link too, it's an active link. And we can also add forms inside search bar, forms inside this. So I'm going to create a form action and a class of navbar form and navbar, let's say left. This navbar left is gonna align this this search bar to the left side, and also we have a role of search. Inside this I'm gonna add a div with a class of form group, and inside this I'm gonna put input with a type of text and a class of form control and a placeholder with a text, let's say search this out. So I'm gonna save this, preview in the browser, and as you can see, there's the form, there's the search, and search this out, whatever I type, there's there. So I can also add a button, a submit button. After div tag, I'm gonna add a button with a type submit, and let's say a class is btn, let's say primary. Submit, close this, save, and there's our button right here. We can also move this whole search to the right. For example, we have this navbar left, we can move it to right, save this, and as you can see now it moves to the right hand side. You can also add buttons with anchor tag. For example, after this list, I'm gonna add an anchor tag with a reference of 0, nothing, and btn, let's say primary. Oops, class. If I refresh, as you can see, this button is right here, but it is not properly aligned. So there is another property for that. We have this btn primary right here, and for proper alignment, we use a new class which is navbar btn. I'm going to save this, and as you can see now it is properly aligned. You can also add paragraph, headings inside your. You can also add paragraphs and headings and whatever you want inside those navbar. And if I go inside my browser, as you can see, if I do this, my all the content goes in like a drop down. So I can click this, and there's all the links and buttons and search bars as well. So there is also a class inside the navbar which allows you to fix the navbar. No matter how much you scroll down, scroll up, it's gonna stay at a particular place, and that class is navbar fixed top. So I'm gonna save this, and before previewing it, we don't have any much content inside, so I'm gonna add a little content. I'm gonna add a div with a class of container. Inside this I'm gonna add a paragraph and paste some of the text, and copy this, save this, preview in the browser. Okay, so this is not actually, I'm gonna add few more. Save this. Okay, so as you can see, if I scroll down, the navbar is fixed to the top. We can also add a class of bottom, and as you can see, the navbar is fixed at the bottom. There is another class of navbar inverse, which makes your navbar kinda black. So That's it. That's it. That's pretty much it for a navbar. And if thanks for watching the video. In the next video, we're going to talk about list groups in Bootstrap and how to use, how to create list, how to style list, all that stuff. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe. See you in the next video.